relate to as many people as possible. Like we like showing. You ever notice how movies love showing people like who clearly have upper class houses, but who act like they have middle class regular problems?
Yeah, I mean, they had a very large home in the suburbs of Chicago.
Dude, it was like meeting the McAllisters.
Yeah, very large home. And then he goes into his attic, which is another house unto itself.
Right.
I mean, this is an immaculate home that they have. So, yeah, it's interesting. And then they have a second mortgage on it, John.
But I mean, the whole opening, though, did remind me so much of Home Alone, minus the financial issues, right?
Yeah.
Like, because they have this huge house, but they really seem like everyday folks. Not that everyday folks can't have big houses. That's not what I mean. But, they don't act like they have power jobs when they're at home. The family dynamic doesn't sound like they have kids in private school or power jobs or house servants or anything, even though they live in McMansions. And then the family dynamic seems very everyday and very quirky. We get to see the spouse interactions, the parent-child interactions, the child-child interactions all real quickly. And then we just dump in some financial problems so that we can move the plot along for some reason. That wasn't necessary.
No. And then that child, Ben, immediately spills milk on his mom's work and costs her 2 weeks worth of progress.
So was that like a $500,000 condo in the Loop in Chicago, and then she just disappeared?
Yeah. I mean, that kid is trouble. He just spilled milk, and then the daughter comes home. Now, I have a question, John. The daughter, Caroline, her new fiance, he didn't seem totally bad. He seemed open to, hey, mom and dad. Like, he seemed excited. He didn't show any properties of being a bad dude, did he?
They just gave him a leather jacket and a haircut that a random parent would just want to call a punk without knowing them, know?
How old is this daughter?
I think that she's 16.
16?
And I think that dude was much older than that.
Jeez, she's an unsupervised child, so he must have a massive commute, and then she's so busy as a freelance architect that they're just never home. Because that kid does come home and fixes his own kind of snack after school. He's used to taking care of himself.
Well, I mean, if you live in the suburbs and you work in downtown Chicago, which it looked like, or some, heavily developed area of Chicago, I'm sure he's commuting an hour each way. And people with jobs like that usually have a 1 hour lunch job. So you're spending 9 total hours at work. That's 11 hours of your day. Yep. You're gone from like 7 to 7 or 6 to 6, right? And that's if it's only an hour commute.
And if his boss was the guy from Office Space, Martin Short's definitely staying at the office another hour or two because he won't say no.
Or if it's Kevin Spacey from Horrible Bosses.
Yeah, exactly. Martin Short's character is not saying no. Martin is not saying no.
Right. He doesn't seem like that guy.
And he also seems like the guy that will get pushed out of the way and then he doesn't get the train, so he has to wait 15 minutes more.
Aw, I feel badly for this hypothetical Martin now.
This family's in a lot of trouble, John.
Well,
no, I'm joking. It's just a 90s family in the suburbs, like this, the kids who kind of take care of themselves.
Yeah. But you know what, though? For all this opening, though, minus the second loan, if we just delete the second loan,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the fact that his daughter just got engaged to what I think is an 18-year-old, which any father would hate. Their 16-year-old getting engaged to an 18-year-old. But like that aside, when we meet them and we see their dynamics, I don't know, it felt very relatable to me. I liked the way that they spun the web of this family. Like, I immediately kind of liked this family.
Yeah, I like the kid. I like Swab a lot. I thought he was a cool little kid. The sister wasn't bad. I mean, she got taken away during school from her fiance to go clean a boat for 30 days. She's not going to be happy.
Well, she was trying to hit on every guy who didn't have a scar on his face when they were traveling. Like,
she's like, I'm engaged. It's not really a thing.
It's not like as in not a problem. It's like, come on, dude.
Now, when we first meet Ron, so Martin Short calls up this guy, hey, this boat we're going to sell you hasn't been appraised since 1967. They learn it's not in good shape. So the guy cancels their good captain and gives them Captain Ron. And Ron shows up in a car that sinks almost immediately. Ron just doesn't care about putting it in park or, pulling the emergency brake. But this Frenchman shows up with a gun. And he says, you already stole my wife.
Right.
You're not going to steal my car. Now, Kurt Russell said, I borrowed this car from a friend. So did he run into a situation, steal that? Did he steal that car, or was that guy his friend?
Well, because of the timing of it, I think that morning he woke up with that guy's wife and scrambled to get out of the house as he was maybe coming home from some night shift or something and needed to get the hell out and ended up taking the car. Because otherwise, how would the timing work that he borrowed a car from one guy, or you were not borrowing a car from the guy and he's just finding out you're cheating on it. His wife is cheating on him with you, that doesn't happen. So I think that he woke up there, whether or not he knew that she was married. I think he woke up there, panicked, realized, had a page or something and realized he needed to get somewhere for work and he doesn't have a car. And so he borrowed the car.
Got it. She might have given him the keys.
He even implied that he borrowed his friend's car. There's the mindset, we can't just leave now. I borrowed my friend's car. And then he stops his thought. Was he going to call someone?
Were they going to come get that car?
Or he seemed like they weren't going to leave right away. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh okay.
I love
when you're going.
I love when he looks at the boat, looks at the sky, and he goes,
and within, I think it was 7 or 8 minutes of running time, because I was keeping track as I was hearing him just unload this stuff. He let Martin know that, he let the kids know anyway that he misplaced a car. And then he let him know that he sunk a boat that wasn't his on the Barrier Reef. He let him know that he was in rehab for something he doesn't reveal. And we know that someone tried to kill him for adultery. And all this happens within the first 8 minutes that he shares the screen with Martin Short. So at that point, though, you see, if that's me in real life, John is going to be like, wait, no. You seem nice, but I don't know enough about it. This seems a little dodgy to me. And you're telling me this. What are the things that I'm not hearing is what I would start thinking.
And I love, too, when he's like, a diesel loved their oil like a sailor loves his rum. And then Martin Short goes, why is that, Captain Ron? He goes, I don't know. and then they kick the tires, light the fires, and then turpentine gets all over, or smoke gets all over Caroline. And he's like,
turpentine will take that out.
And then he goes, you stole my wife. You are not stealing my car. That's the line that the guy says. So you stole my wife. You are not stealing my car. So
it's quite an introduction to Ron Rico.
And then he passes out, and they think he's dead.
Yep. That was also very. That's one of the most memorable parts of that movie, by the way. So I was actually trying to solicit listener questions because I feel like everyone I know has seen this movie, right?
Yeah.
But no one has seen this movie in 10 or 20 years, which baffles me because I adore this movie. But so I'm asking people, and they're like, "That's the one with the eye patch scene, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." Do you have any funny questions about that movie? And they're like, "I haven't seen that movie since I was a kid."
Yeah. Did you like that? I love this movie as a kid because there was just a lack of movies like this. I remember I watched this movie, right? And I was in a shop class. And these two guys and I would sit around looking at awesome boats after this movie. We just loved the VHS of Captain Ron. And then we would talk about boats in shop class. I wanted to go on a boating adventure because of this movie. As
a kid, I just liked this movie, but a lot of it's probably going over my head, even as a late teenager. Yeah. In college, though, in undergrad, when most of my movie watching was with beer, I started to get more of the adult humor, and I liked it more. And now that I'm an adult, we're older than Martin, probably. Yeah. Well, not older. I'm sorry. He has a 16-year-old daughter. We're probably his age, or he's a little older than us. He's 35, 40 range, right? I'm guessing in this.
Yeah.
So, but that said, we're that age. We're well into mortgages, things like that. All these things that we catch that no kid is going to understand even if they catch it. So it's I started to appreciate all this stuff so much more. When you're 18 and Ron is staring at Kitty's cleavage, you're like, oh, scandalous. He's going to try and get it. Then you get older, it's no, he's just one of those guys. He's not really going to try anything. He's harmless, but he's going to flirt with her a lot because that's what he does.
Yeah, but the filming, he wasn't recording. I don't think he wasn't going up there to record that. He just kind of saw it and was like, hey, this is all right.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm not going to call him lecherous, but it's somewhere between lecherous and normal where he falls.
That's crazy that word came to my head. I'm like, that's a bit lecherous. Why did you and I think the same word, John?
Well, yeah, it's, you got a camcorder aimed at your wife's butt. That's what you'd think, like.
No.
You assume the worst if you see that.
If I was Martin Short, I'd be a little annoyed. Now, I got 2 questions for you from Tom, who joined us on the Live Free or Die Hard and Hackers Pod, an upcoming Real Genius, and he asks, why is his name Ron? And is it Ron or Ronald? What do you think? Do you think it's a Ronald? Do you think it's even Ron? Let's start with that.
It may be Ron, but Ron Rico is too ironic a name for someone who neither looks in any way Hispanic nor wealthy.
Yeah, so
he's the antithesis of Rico. So I think that part's made up, and maybe he really is a Ronald or something, and he put up this alias. He was avoiding the statute of limitations, and we know that he's sleeping with other people's wives. He's owed some pirates money. He's the kind of guy who probably doesn't want his real name floating around.
Do you think his name could be Aaron, and he just shortened it to Ron?
I could totally buy him as an Aaron.
Because, yeah, Aaron, I think that works really well. Maybe he was in the Navy, he was Aaron something. And he just kind of got led astray through years of partying it up in the Pacific and all the docks. And then he got out of the military, didn't know what to do, so he became a captain.
And, it doesn't sound nice to say, but I do not think that if he was in the Navy that he got an honorable discharge.
No.
I think that he got caught with does the Navy have ensigns? I was going to say like some ensign's wife. Is that a high or a low rank? I don't even know these things.
And maybe I feel like he smuggled fireworks or something. That's what he got booted for. Nothing major. Right. He did a fireworks show for everybody on top of an aircraft carrier.
Or he cheeched his commanding officer's quarters while he was asleep because he's always grumpy and he thought it would put him in a better mood and make him happier.
Yeah.
So he's like, they fill the vents with like pot smoke or something. Yeah. And but he's not thinking of it as a practical joke. He's like, man, he always seems to be in a bad mood. This would probably make him actually happier. And then, it just blows up in his face, and they're like, yeah, you just drugged your commanding officer, Ron. You're out and prison time.
And Ron did not think about he just thought it would be funny, not that, oh, man, I'm going to be drugging my commanding officer.
Right, exactly. Well, I don't even think he thought it was funny. I think he thought he was helping.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
In this hypothetical scenario, I think he thought he was helping.
Just an earnest guy.
Right. I don't think there's anything dodgy about him except for his history. I don't know how to say this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then, sorry.
He's not hurtful.
No, never. Even that scene where Martin Short's like, she's talking to me, Ron. Ron wasn't even trying to, when Martin Short said that woman Clarice was looking at him, and Kurt Russell's like, what? Clarice? Who are you looking at? Like, he was genuinely curious to know who Clarice was looking at. He wasn't doing that to prove a point. Like, he could have been like, no.
He wasn't being a jerk.
Yeah, no, Martin, she's with me. Like, he's like, is Clarice looking at Martin? And then also another question is, from Tom, is he really a captain? Where's the proof? I think
he's a captain because he was hired to send them.
Yep.
To take the boat up.
Obviously, he's a local guy that people know because he got the call.
He's the lowest common denomination of captain in the sense that he has a license to operate that scale boat and he works for a yacht broker in Miami.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so that's all right. Good. I think that's the proof is because he got the call for it.
Right. But captain, I mean, what is a captain? A captain is someone who has the license, who just claims responsibility for the ship.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's a captain. He's not a captain in, say, the military, Air Force, Navy.
He's not like Blackbeard, but
Jack Sparrow, yeah. That's funny. So, all right. So, we've covered a lot of ground, and we're not even to when he orders his first margarita, John.
Oh, gosh. Or when he gets Ben his first beer.
Oh, I love that. I think growing up, right, I just love him hanging out with the kid. And I love when he's like, don't touch my beer. He's like, if you want one, get it yourself. And then he lets the kid drink a beer, and then he charges him $2.50 for it.
Right.
I love that scene.
Hey, get your hands off that. Keep your hands off my brewski. Oh, sorry, I was just moving. It's like, damn, you bet your booty you were. You want a beer, you get your own. And the kid just, and then Ben, for the first time in the movie, gives him this look, that wide-eyed, like, O face, like, what? And he's just, like, frozen. He has that face, like, in 10 different scenes in the movie when he's watching what's going down with Captain Ron, that, what? Look, like, it's so